Music today, most of the developed world has ended the death penalty. But in 2024, there are still two countries in the OECD that use it, the United States of America and Japan. But while the US has been transparent about deference body, its ultimate punishment, Japan has kept its practices secret for years. It was only in 2010 that the world was finally shown the evil design of Japan's death penalty. The 26th of July, 2022, Tomi Hiroto is sitting in a cell in Cantonment, the Tokyo Detention Center. 14 years ago, he killed 7 people and injured 10 inches. 2011, Tomato was sentenced to death every day. He wakes up at 7 a.m. and heads to bed at 9 p.m. In a cell that's the size of about 4 tatami mats, he has a sink, a commode bedding, and a small desk. In Japan, death row inmates can wait decades for an execution. But unlike the US, they wait for a day they never really know is coming. Any random morning, the inmate can be taken to the execution chamber. They're given no more than a few hours' notice. The Japanese state says that this helps with emotional stability, that it reduces the chances of an inmate taking life. Some argue it's justice. Their victims weren't given notice either. Others say it's inhumane. For 34 years, a man named Menda Saka didn't know which day would be his last. In 1983, he was freed. The police officer who arrested him revealed that he had concealed Sakai's alibi that proved he was innocent. 12,410 mornings with an unjustified fear for execution. In 2014, Iwa Hakamada was also released and given a retrial due to possibly falsified evidence. He was the longest-serving death row inmate on the planet. Kamada spent more than 45 years in prison, waiting in the Tokyo Detention Center. Kato sits in his cell. He's surrounded by objects purposely made rounder so that he can't finish off his sentence earlier than expected on July 26, 2022. After 14 years of waiting, he hears more noises than usual outside of his door. Today, the majority of the developed world has outlawed the death penalty. But Japan is strange. This book explains why, even though it's still legal in the US, it's debatable. The United States is a federal divided country. Many states have phased out the death penalty entirely. Japan, on the other hand, is a centralized state where polls have shown that the public supports it with a clear majority. The US's death penalty is intimately connected with its history of racial discrimination and enslavement. Japan is ethnically homogeneous and has less inequality. The fall of an authoritarian leader like Hitler, Melanie, Salazar, and Franco all led to the abolition of the death penalty in their respective countries. Japan's authoritarian state also fell. But the death penalty remained. In Austria, Great Britain, and France, the election of a left-wing government all led to the abolition of capital punishment in 2009. Japan elected the center-left Democratic Party of Japan. The death penalty stayed. But what makes Japan's situation even stranger is how uniquely brutal it is. Its homicide rate is a fraction of that found in the US, and it's lower than all the European countries which have abolished the death penalty. Nevertheless, the percentage of murder offenders sentenced to death in Japan and the US are around the same. In 2001-815, Japanese prisoners were killed with about 616 inmates on death row. That's 10 less than the US is 25, which had more than 10 times the amount of inmates on death row. 7 of the 15 executions were part of the Aum Shrio doomsday cult. The Japanese state sometimes executes in batches. All 7 were killed on the same morning. While the US explicitly treats the death penalty differently from other criminal sentencing in Japan, it's treated like other criminal punishments to be put. The death in the US, you must go through a bifuric trial system. There is a criminal trial for determining guilt or innocence, which requires unanimity. After, if determined to be guilty, it goes to another trial. For deciding the punishment here, you must receive again a unanimous agreement from the jury. Then the judge can serve you the death penalty. Florida and Alabama are the only exceptions, but these two states are outliers in the US context, and they still require a supermajority in Japan. It's different under the SIN system. Citizens act like judges. They sit alongside professional ones to determine both the verdict and the sentence of a crime. All that is required for the death penalty is a majority in theory. 5 judges on the panel can believe the defendant is guilty and deserves the death penalty.